Today we're going to talk about the Electoral College. And I have to assure you, before we even begin, I am not making this up. You hear people talk about having a pocket constitution? Well, this is a pocket constitution. And if you look at Article 2 and you look at the 12th Amendment, it will explain to you, I hope it will explain to you, how the Electoral College works. Because there are, in toto, for all the states and the District of Columbia, 538 electors. It represents the number of people in the U.S. House of Representatives, 435, and 100 senators, plus 3 more for the District of Columbia. So the more populous states get lots more seats, but every state starts with those 2 Electoral College votes that come from their 2 senators. So in a sense, you could say that Wyoming's voters actually get more bang for their buck in the Electoral College because, after all, a very small number of people are choosing 3 electors. Whereas in reality, what the candidates are looking for is the Electoral College votes of the big states, basically the top 10, and then a few others that are called swing states or battleground states that go back and forth and deliver the difference between winning and losing. Why do we have this thing? Why don't we just go by the popular vote? The reason, to put it simply, is that the founders, the framers, the founding fathers of the country, as they're sometimes called, when they wrote this Constitution back in the 1780s, had real doubts about whether or not the raw vote of the regular people, the ordinary population, was the wisest way to choose a president. They were afraid that somebody might just get the majority of the popular vote, but not be truly reflective of the country as a whole. And remember, in the 1780s, they were only contemplating letting people vote if they were white men who owned property. So there was already a fair amount of elitism operative, and they just extended that to saying, we're not so sure that a lot of these folks are all that smart about the way they do their voting. Fortunately, in most of our history, we haven't really needed to care that much because the Electoral College seemed like a formality. But here's the hard truth of it. We don't elect the president on election day, we the voters. We elect people who are called electors. And they meet a month and some later. This year it'll be on December 19th in each of the 50 state capitals, and they elect the president. Our role as the voters on November 8th is to decide which set of electors gets to do that in our respective state capitals. And these people can sometimes be party officials, but they don't need to be. All they need to be is eligible to vote citizens who are willing to stand as electors for a particular party. By and large, the parties want to make sure that they're good, solid members of the party. They don't want to send some total stranger trusting that they will vote for the party's nominee. We have occasionally had people who have been, for one reason or another, led to vote for someone other than the person they're supposed to vote for. They're sometimes called faithless electors. They cast what might be called protest votes. This has not determined the outcome. But if a lot of electors proved faithless because they had, for some reason or another, lost their faith in their party's nominee, they would be legally empowered to vote for another person if that was their judgment. We haven't seen that done in any kind of organized way or any sort of consequential or substantial way, but it in theory could happen. And while it has clearly come under a certain amount of scrutiny and doubt and objection in 240 years, it has never been eliminated. Yes, that's really the way it works.